Hello and welcome to Hopeful Consciousness. It's day 11 of my 2-week challenge to help you have a spiritual and awakened moment. So I'm just at the sunny delights of Greenwich Park at the moment. I think they're closing in a second, so I'll best do this video quickly. But this week I wanted to talk about something called the law of attraction, which I'm sure that you've heard about before through various things such as The Secret, other movies like that. Now, someone I find is, one of the best on this topic is a lady called Abraham Hicks, and she channels a being called Abraham Hicks, and I first came across it with her an audio CD with her late husband Jerry as well, who was doing some of the narration on the CD, and she has a fantastic take on how the law of attraction works. So the basic principle, as you've probably heard, is that like is attracted to like. So that if you want to attract more money, for example, you just send out a desire into the universe, very much like the Bible says, ask and you shall receive, and then it comes towards you. Now, the only downside or problem with that is we're not really doing it in the way it's meant to be done. So she clarifies a lot of how this is meant to work. And Greg Braden actually also says they've actually found some of the ancient Dead Sea Scrolls with some of the lost Gospels, which actually correct the saying that says, "Ask and you shall receive." That's an edited version in the modern Bible. The actual text, translated from the original Hebrew, I think it was, say along the lines of ask and ye shall receive, but you basically also have to believe that you already have it and act as if you already have it. Greg talks about this with, accounts with shamans and things like that, I remember a particular thing where he was looking at a shaman that was trying to basically call on for some rain after a drought, after a long period of time. And they went and did a ceremony, and amazingly, despite the fact it had been a huge period of drought, within hours of this ceremony being done, rain came. And Greg watched and observed it, and he was surprised by how simple it was. But it's a case that you fundamentally have to believe you already have it. So Esther Hicks, with Abraham channeled through her, so you have to keep an open mind for this, talks about whenever you want something, you send out something called a rocket of desire. So if you imagine I want a new car, I'll send out a rocket of desire into that, and that's held in like an emotional energy escrow for you, because you're not just here in your own physical form. There's almost like an energy counterpart to you, your soul almost, if you liken it to that, and that's basically holding all of this in like a bank account for you, to store it for you, to basically give it to you, to give you what you most desire. Now, the problem with that is often what will happen is we send very mixed messages to the universe, and this is what she tries to clarify a lot. You see, if I send a message about, I want a Ferrari, for example, what happens is the next day I look at my car and I go, it's not a Ferrari, so I've now sent an opposite signal of lack, that I don't have it. I'm not in the frame that I feel like I already have it, and I'm not experiencing the emotions as if I've already have this item in my life, and something along those lines. So I'm sending contrary signals. So she explains that there's like an energy vortex of this almost like escrow bank account where it's all being held for you. You just have to go and get it, and the way you get it is to just believe it's already there, act as if it is. Joe Dispenza talks about this as well, about attracting things out of the quantum field, that you almost have to set your desire you can use like a meditation to do this. So you set your desire for what you want to achieve in life. It could be a house, could be an item, could be anything you want, your health or curing a problem, and then you attract it to you by fundamentally believing that you've already received it. So you have to remain positive in that sense that you've already received it. You act as if you have that in your life already, and then basically would it it'd be nice to be rolled by the police. Lovely lockdown procedure. So yeah, you basically have to act as if you've already received that, and it's sort of sitting there waiting for you in this bank account. So the way you do that is just to focus your entire being on already having it, and almost forgetting about it. Because if you're sitting there worried, I'll use money for example. Say you're sitting there worried that you haven't got much money. You want to attract money into your life, and then you sit there, you look at your bank account and you're like, oh, I've not got enough money for this or that, and you're constantly looking and focusing and sending the opposite message to this sort of escrow account. You're not sitting there going, I don't need to worry about it, the universe has got my back, I know it's going to come to me, I don't know in what shape or form it's going to come to me, but that's okay, I'm not going to worry about it because I feel like I've already got it. And just imagine a feeling of if you already have, say, £1 million sat in your bank account. You're not worried about having £1 million in your bank account, you just know it's there. It's that knowing that it's fundamentally there already, in your bank account waiting for you. So that's kind of how the law of attraction works from what I've seen of it. I've experienced it myself, and I had very weird events after the workshop with Ryan. I actually had a phone call with his assistant and his fiance about some of the problems I was having with a couple of tenants and things like that, you know, people that hadn't paid for 6 months and things like that. I won't bore you with the details, but ultimately it was like £3,000 owed to me. And I had a long chat with her explaining the situation, and you know, straight off, coming off the back of this course, she was just like, you know what, Paul, you don't value yourself enough. That's why people are walking over you like this, because you've kind of set in your mind that this is acceptable, and all you have to do is just change the way you feel about yourself, and value yourself, and you know, this won't happen anymore, because you'll love yourself enough to know that you wouldn't accept that kind of situation anymore. And I'll tell you, it's freaky weird. I sat there and I thought, you know what, you're absolutely right. I have been sitting in this little dark hole for a little while, and it's time to stop thinking that way. And so I actually decided to do a little meditation. I think it was that day. I sat there and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to take this or tolerate some of this stuff anymore. I'm just going to know that things have, you know, got my back and stuff like that. And then it's freaky weird, literally the same person that hadn't paid for 6 months calls me the next day, and then says, oh, by the way, the council's going to be paying for my housing for this period. Is it okay if they call you and pay you £3,000? And I'm just like, what? It's freaky the way that the moment you change your state, that things get attracted to you like that. It's uncanny. And that was just one example of things that happened to me like that. There was a kind of bit of synchronicity with it. A lot of it is when you charge it with positive emotions as well. There's Greg said there's been some interesting experiments where, you know, if you set your intention on achieving something, and they've measured this in a particular scientific experiment. Sorry, I don't have the details at the top of my head, but he was saying thought alone, absolutely no influence over it whatsoever. He said, you know, sitting there just emotion alone, no influence. But thought and emotion, desire and feeling, you've already got it. And he said it's scientifically measured that it's influenced reality. Your consciousness can affect reality in that way. And this is part of the law of attraction working. You feel you already have it, thus it is attracted to you, because you're already in that state of being where you already have it. So there you go, that's just my little tips for law of attraction. Do check out Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks. I find her stuff fantastic. It's really the best law of attraction stuff I've ever seen out there, to be honest with you. So yeah, do check that stuff out. And yeah, just remember, if you want something, put it out there, put it into the universe, into the quantum field, as you might call it. Charge it with positive emotion. Know that you already have it within you. You're already experiencing the joys of having whatever it is you've put out there to receive. And then just forget about it. Just let it be there in the universe. Don't worry about how it's going to come to you. Don't worry about anything else. And just see and be pleasantly surprised as the universe falls into place for you. So there you go. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 12 of my little challenge here. And I hope you find this useful. From Greenwich Park. I'll see you later. Bye bye.